What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new video where we will discuss Arsenal and Unai Emery because they are in free fall right now. Arsenal have just one win in their previous 6 league games and they are now a whopping 8 points behind the top 4. But what is even a bigger problem is they don't look an exciting team. They don't even look like winning many games in a row, which is probably required if you want to break into the top 4, because Chelsea, for example, I think they are on 6 wins in a row. Leicester City also are winning games in a row, and Arsenal, I very rarely see them winning 2-3 games in a row. And I think that Unai Emery should get sacked. But the big question is, do you think that Mourinho, for example, would be a good replacement for him? I've seen Mourinho being linked with the Arsenal manager's job. Of course, the Arsenal fans are not a big fan of Mourinho, especially after what Mourinho said about Arsenal and about Arsene Wenger when he was at the club. But actually, what is really worrying for Arsenal and Arsenal fans is that Unai Emery's first 50 games as an Arsenal manager, he has actually a worse record than Arsene Wenger's last 50 games. And remember that the Arsenal fans desperately wanted, most of them at least, desperately wanted Wenger to be sacked because they thought surely with a better manager they will get better results. Well, not. I think Unai Emery is not a better manager than Arsene Wenger, and the results speak for themselves. I will put on the screen the statistics, but Unai Emery has in his first 50 games less points than Arsene Wenger. He has less wins and less goals scored, more conceded, a lot less clean sheets. Wenger kept 18 clean sheets with Arsenal in his last 50 games. Unai Emery just 10 clean sheets. That's 1 clean sheet in 5 games. That's really, really bad. And also they create a lot less chances. But what is also worrying is that Arsenal faced almost 700 shots in their first 50 games under Unai Emery. That is incredibly high for a big club like Arsenal. And also 250 shots on target faced. That's like 5 shots on target faced per game on average, which is absolutely incredibly high in my opinion. I mean, how can you expect to finish in the top 4 with a statistic like that? And Arsenal don't play attractive football anymore. I think that's the biggest problem with the Arsenal fans. If Unai Emery was showing some promise with the tactics, and also he was showing some promise with how Arsenal are playing and trying to score goals and dominate games, but at the moment they are tactically all over the place. The team selection is all over the place. There is no consistency. Mesut Ozil was frozen out for like 2 months. Probably Arsenal's most creative player. And if you consider that watching Arsenal, it just lacks creativity many times. And what is also incredible is that Arsenal scored so few goals with a 200 million strike force. If you add up how much Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe and Mesut Ozil cost, it's about 200 million pounds, and they scored just very few goals, just 16 goals in 12 games. Just to compare, Chelsea with a transfer ban scored 27 goals, and I mean even Wolverhampton scored as many goals. Burnley scored 1 more goal than Arsenal this season in the Premier League. Also Aston Villa scored 1 goal more than Arsenal in this Premier League season. So if you have Aston Villa and Burnley outscoring you, that's a big worry. And also Arsenal's goal difference is -1 after 12 games with a 200 million strike force. That's absolutely incredible. And there was a perfect opportunity to sack Unai Emery. A 2-week international break is usually when clubs decide that they want to change the manager, because then the new manager has 2 weeks to implement his tactics onto the team and to get settled into the new job. But actually Arsenal's head of football, Raul Sanhelihi, and managing director Vinay Venkatesham actually said they firmly believe that Unai Emery is the right man for the Arsenal job to get them into the Champions League. But results need to improve. That's what they said. And this is what they told the Arsenal staff. We are as disappointed as everyone else with both our results and performances at this stage of the season. We share the frustration with our fans, Unai, and players and all our staff, as they are not at the level we want or expect. Things need to improve to meet our objectives for the season, and we firmly believe Unai Emery is the right man for the job. Together with the backroom team we have in place, we are all working intensively behind the scenes to turn things around, and we are confident that we will turn it around. I'm not so sure, but I think that one of the main reasons why they don't want to sack Unai Emery is that if they sack him, they have to give him like £6 million as a severance package. On the other hand, if they let his contract run and at the end of the season Arsenal don't finish in the top 4, Unai Emery has a clause in his contract that he can get sacked and he doesn't get any compensation for getting sacked if he doesn't get top 4, which I think is a decent objective and a decent achievement goal for Arsenal. And reports in Spain has been actually claiming that Arsenal had spoken to former Barcelona manager Luis Enrique, who was also touted to replace Arsene Wenger before Unai Emery became the Arsenal manager. I think that's actually a good shout for Arsenal. Luis Enrique could be a decent replacement. He played wonderful football with Barcelona, but of course it's Barcelona, and they had world-class players when he was the manager. He won the Champions League with Barcelona in Luis Suarez's first season, if I remember correctly. But I think the big question is how much could he implement his playing style onto this Arsenal team. I think they need to change the manager, honestly, because watching Arsenal, you just know what you will expect. I mean, almost everyone knew that Leicester City will beat Arsenal, and nobody gave Arsenal a lot of chance in that game. And that just shows how far Arsenal have fallen. That the Leicester City, who have a decent budget but not on the same level as Arsenal, can completely and comfortably outplay and beat Arsenal. And that's what actually many people, including Arsenal fans, expected. You know that Arsenal are in big trouble when many people expect them to lose certain games. And I watched Arsenal, of course, many times during the years under Arsene Wenger. And yes, things got really bad, really ugly at the end of Arsene Wenger's tenure. But I think the Arsenal fans had so much optimism and so much they were looking forward to this new era under Unai Emery, and it has been an absolute disaster so far. I mean, Europa League cup run was brilliant, but Unai Emery, who was famous for winning cup finals, for winning Europa Leagues, he won like 3 or 4 Europa Leagues in a row with Sevilla. Believe me, I know, because I'm a Liverpool fan and we lost to Sevilla in the final. So everybody was expecting Unai Emery to bring another Europa League trophy home, especially since his opponent, Sarri, didn't have one trophy in his whole managerial career before that game. And Chelsea smashed Arsenal, absolutely annihilated them 4-1 in the final. And that really bruised the Arsenal fans, in my opinion, and the whole club as well, because not only did they miss out on the top 4, they just needed to get 1 point from like 3 winnable games against smaller sides at the end of the season, and they couldn't even manage to do that. Arsenal had the easiest run of fixtures last season up until the end of the season to finish in the top 4, and they absolutely bottled it. I remember that they lost to teams like Crystal Palace and other smaller teams, and Tottenham, who have lost a lot of games at the end of last season, only just scraped into the top 4 by like 1 point ahead of Arsenal. So I think that really hurt Arsenal fans, and it also hurt the club, because without Champions League football they needed to pay incredible over-the-top money for Nicolas Pepe, who I think is a good player but not worth 72 million if we are all honest. And also sometimes he has been one of the most exciting Arsenal players on the pitch, And Unai Emery still leaves him out, saying he's not ready. Like, what does that mean? If you don't get playing time, you will never be ready for the Premier League. And I think that something badly needs to change at Arsenal. That's just my opinion. But let me know what you think about this whole Arsenal situation. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinion. And thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.